Let's move on to a game in which it's, tons of speculation here for us guys. It is the Las Vegas Raiders and the Chicago Bears. This is another 2.5 and a 37.5 total in favor of the Raiders on the road over the Bears. We know Justin Fields not going to go. It sounds to me like this is kind of a multi-week injury for him. I'm speculating, but it seems like this is going to be 2 or 3 weeks for him. He can't grip the football. So we're going to get Tyler Badgett. And on the Raiders side, we're not going to get Jimmy Garoppolo, yet they have not decided whether it will be Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell. They said they will make that call after practice today. So, I know. So we can't really fully handicap this one to the extent we would like to do with all this. Steven, so many unknowns in this, so much garbage to try and deal with all of this. Maybe a lean to the under. I could see this game playing just absolutely terribly and it just being the most ridiculous thing we've ever watched. But these aren't the type of games I like to bet.
So let's stick with the theme here that Adam brought up, where this fits another potential Wong teaser. You have a home underdog at 2.5. You could tease up to 8.5 and a total of 37.5. But the idea of teasing and getting extra points is that you have confidence that the points you are getting are valuable. And I'm not sure how anybody could be confident completely that getting 6 extra points with Badgett or Bagent, I guess we'll find out this weekend. The pride of Shepherd University, right, in West Virginia. The guy who once got killed by the Colorado School of Mines is starting an NFL game this week. How could anybody feel confident that the 6 extra points they're getting there to pay minus 120 or shorter at a lot of books now is valuable? So I don't have a bet on this game, but I would just say, just based on the unknown, if you definitely want to bet this, just take the plus money on Chicago and the home dog against another backup quarterback on the other side and a head coach who has been terrible, who's made bad decisions over and over again in his NFL career, a dome team going on the road in colder weather and wind. Like, if you want to bet this game, just lean into that randomness and that variance and take some plus money as opposed to laying juice with a complete unknown on the teaser leg.
Adam, I heard people this week, because, you got to fill content, you got to fill air, talking about Tyler Badgett threw for 4,580 yards in his last year. So what are we like? Why are we just assuming he can't play? I'm like, he did this against the school that Steven just previously mentioned, Slippery Rock, East Stroudsburg, Bloomsburg, Westchester, Millersville, Lockhaven, Shippensburg.
Oh my God, that's my neck of the woods. I had high school friends that went to Bloomsburg and Shippensburg.
Edinburgh, Southern Connecticut State. How's Connecticut even big enough to have a Southern Connecticut State? That shouldn't even be a thing.
And he had the Connecticut School of Broadcasting on the schedule too.
So people are trying to make a case for this guy because he threw for a lot of yards last year against a whole bunch of probably not even barely good enough to play on their senior football team, And so I don't know, man. I don't want to back the Raiders. But at least there's some sort of, if they go with Hoyer, at least. If they go with Aiden O'Connell, just absolutely throw this out the window to me. But at least with Hoyer, there's a proven commodity. We at least know what we're getting. We have a guy that is at least,
look at his face. Proven commodity, what? Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, yes, a guy that has a million snaps in the NFL over the course of 15 years.
Who hasn't won a game, and I can't remember how long.
As 2016. As opposed to a guy that listen, he is going to get blitzed. They are about to blitz him at a 90% rate, and this is going to be we are about to see the highest blitz rate in the history of the NFL, because they are going to make this guy Badgett, who none of us had heard of until a week ago. Whatever.
You also called him Tyler 2 seconds ago.
Oh, listen, whatever. Tyson, Taylor, Tyler, whatever. Who cares? Who cares? He's gonna be bagging groceries in 2 weeks anyway. It doesn't even matter.
He number 12, he could be TB12.
Yeah, whatever. This is his audition for the XFL. It's what's going on to this week. But anyway, Adam, you follow this Raiders team. What do we think about a 2.5? Them laying 2.5 on the road.
All right. First of all, it's going to be O'Connell. Don't buy the noise on Brian Hoyer. They have this set up to where Hoyer comes in mid-game if they need him. Aiden O'Connell gets the full week start. And when you have Jimmy Garoppolo as your starting quarterback, you need to have these things planned out. And that's where the way that the Raiders have this set up right now. I want to talk about two things.
Because, sure. Sure. Yeah.
So let's talk about this in the aggregate, right? Let's talk about where we are right now with Las Vegas and Chicago both throwing backup quarterbacks out there. Whether it's a backup or whether it's an injured quarterback, there are 10 teams this week that either are on a backup or are throwing an injured starter out there. And if you want to get involved in trying to handicap injured starters and backups, God bless you, because you have a lot more confidence in these situations than I do. Now, I have one fade coming up later with a backup quarterback in which I feel good about. But other than that, in general, what have we gotten this year trying to figure out quarterback injuries? We didn't know Derek Carr's shoulder was going to be busted and come into a game in which we thought Jameis Winston was going to start. We've had no idea what to do with Joe Burrow throughout the entire season. We saw the Jacksonville-New Orleans line bounce around all week this week based on Trevor Lawrence isn't going, Trevor Lawrence is going, Trevor Lawrence is hurt, but he's playing. Trevor Lawrence can't run. Oh, yeah, Trevor Lawrence led the Jaguars in rushing last night. If you want to try to figure these things
his
out,
sprained knee really mattered whenever he ran for like 59 yards. Like,
it's insane. It's absolutely insane. So here's the only way I'm going to tell you to potentially get involved in this game. If you pay attention to the Raiders, then you heard Davante Adams this week talking about how he's not getting the football and how, we just won the last 2 games, but the offense is not working the way it's intended if I'm not getting the football. It's very tempting to just stick the diva wide receiver label on him, and I think you would be completely wrong because Davante Adams is the canary in the coal mine for a Raiders offense that still has not scored 20 points through 6 games this year. The only way they got to 21 last week was because Mac Jones safetied them into it at the end of the game.
That my +3 is well aware.
We're all aware.
Oof. That's
+3,
it's a little painful.
Is well aware.
It's a little painful. Look to Davante Adams props. Seriously. They're going to force feed him the ball this week to try to make him happier. I know that's very narrative-y driven, but there are multiple places you can look that's already happened this year. Happened with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. We saw it with DJ Moore's targets pick up after he wasn't getting the ball for a while. Jamar Chase said he was always open. Turned out he went 9 for 180 in the next week. Play Davante Adams overs.
In the other Aiden O'Connell game, Adams had 13 targets, 8 for 75. So I think receptions is what I'd be most into with the back.
We've got it's a squeaky wheel narrative for these wide receiver ones actually plays out sometimes because you can force targets to wide receiver ones, and so it's not just it's not like a completely unknown thing to happen in the NFL.